Hello again, everybody. This is Mr. Everything, and I'm coming at you with another 148 Tactic project update. Now, these project updates, I've decided to do them a little bit differently. Instead of doing the update like after I paint them and then I show you the miniatures and I show you how far along the project is getting and stuff like that, what I've decided to do is kind of do a project update as we put them together and as we review the models personally and as I clean them and prime them and things like that. And so the project update is actually going to be kind of like a documentary, if you want to call it like that. It's going to basically show you my process as I go through my 148 Tactic process. All right, so in today's video, what we're going to do is we're going to take the miniatures out of these boxes. We're going to take the terrain pieces and the tokens out, and I'm going to take all the tokens from both sets and I'm going to put them in one of my bolt action bags because I've got a number of these different bags, and I thought the 101st would be appropriate for this one because they are also the 101st. Yeah, so let's go ahead and get that started. Let's get this show on the road. Okay. I don't know if I'm going to keep any of the packing material or boxes, but we are going to review each of these different terrain pieces and each of the cards and everything as I go. But let's go ahead and get everything out of this box. Now, there will be times during these videos that I'm either waiting for glue to dry or I am waiting for primer to dry or what have you. And in those cases, what I'll probably do is pause the video. And if it doesn't take that long, or if I continue working on it on the same day, then it'll just be a gap in the video. But if it's an extended time frame of, like 6 hours or maybe overnight or something like that, then what I'll do is a second video, right? So we'll have like project update 1 and then project update 2 and blah, blah, blah. All right, so now, I don't know if you know the history of my 148 Tactic orders or anything. I don't think I really went over that, but I had two shipments. I had 2 orders, and I want to make this announcement, or I want to make this clear. The guys at Voida, are the nicest guys. They're the very customer service friendly or what have you. Okay, because this is what happened. I ordered these 2 starter sets, and then I said, you know what? I'm going to need some more terrain because I want to get all those extra figures, because the starter sets come with the 4 basic figures, but there are like another half a dozen figures that you can get. And so what I did was I ordered those, and then for every figure you put on the table, you're supposed to have 1 terrain piece. So I figured, you know what, I better get some more terrain pieces. And then when I was going through the different terrain pieces, I was getting excited, and I probably ordered too many, right? But that's okay. I ordered almost all of them. I think I ordered like a dozen donuts. But either way, it was a second order. And I've been sitting here waiting for my orders to come in. And then like 3 weeks later, I get my first shipment, right? Which is these 2 starter sets. And I'm like, okay, cool. You know, it just takes a while to come all the way here from Italy or what have you. So I waited for my second shipment, right? I said, you know what, I'm going to give it another 3, 4, 5 days or whatever, however long, because it's probably having to go through customs or something. And it never came. So I was like, okay, did I pay for this? Did this, did I actually order it? And that kind of stuff. And I went to PayPal, which is how I paid it. And I found the transaction and it deducted it from my account. And so I said, okay. So I did pay. And this was back in November 17th or something like that is when I made the initial order. Okay. So I hadn't gotten it. And PayPal says that they haven't provided any shipping information. So I was afraid that it hadn't shipped. So I contacted Boeta Wargaming, right? The company that's making this game and the company that I ordered it from. And the main guy there says, hey, I don't know what happened. Let me review this. Let me double check to see if it hasn't shipped or what's going on, right? And I said, no problem. And then the very next day he said, okay, we've seen that it got mixed up. We didn't ship it. There was a mistake made by us, and unfortunately, you've been sitting there waiting for it and you haven't received it. So to make this right, what we're going to do is we're going to include some free stuff. That just really warmed my heart. I was like, wow, okay. These guys are serious about making their customers happy. So I'm relaying that to you so that you can understand that if you were hesitant or you're not sure, if it's a good company to shop from or whatever, I'm telling you now, from what I can tell from my first experience with them, I'm liking what I'm hearing. You know what I'm saying? Okay, let me get all these popped out and I'll be back. And you saw how easy those popped out. They popped out like super easy. And those are nice, thick card. And let's go ahead. And those are the ones that I was mainly concerned about putting in this bag. Okay, I'm also going to put the bespoke German and the American dice in there. Okay, so the German dice, I guess they're supposed to be field gray or, like a German green, camouflage green color. That's cool. And the 6 is the cross. I'm happy about that. That's pretty cool. And I noticed that the Americans, the 101st, they made them in their green brown, which is like the D-Day color of their uniforms. But coincidentally, that's not really the right color for the 101st in the context of this game, because this game is designed it's themed around the Ardennes, the Battle of the Bulge. And the Americans would be wearing a green uniform during the Ardennes. They wouldn't be wearing the green browns. It's a different style. There's nothing wrong with you painting them up like the D-Day uniform. That would be those, because I really like the D-Day uniforms. I think they were more iconic. but to be more historically accurate, you would paint them green. And these cards are a little bit smaller than a normal playing card. This is the size of a normal playing card, and you can see that they're much smaller. Like this should be 2.5 by 3.5. That's this card. But these guys are 2 by 3, 2 by 3s. So if you're looking for sleeves, get the ones that fit 2 by 3. You could put them in your normal sleeves. There'd just be a lot of extra room. There's nothing wrong with that either. Okay, so tonight I was thinking we'd do some assembly on the miniatures and also do some priming on the terrain pieces. But I don't know if I'm going to be able to do both of those. I think well, we can get started with doing the priming. Okay, let's get all the terrain pieces out of these foam. Because this foam is not like folded over and taped. It's like vacuum sealed, which partially I have mixed feelings about that. Okay, just looking at the resin that was used for this Kuba wagon seems like it's a little darker. I don't know if you can see that on camera, but it's like a darker type resin than all these other pieces. It might be a little harder, or it might have they needed to use a different type of resin so there wouldn't be bubbles or so that it would look good. Well, that's just a good thing because it really looks detailed. Yeah, look at the detail on that. Let's get some inside looks. Yeah, look at that guy slumped over. Now you can see he's got a wrap around his neck like he's wearing a... Because this is cold. This is supposed to be in the snow, you know, in the Ardennes. Got your fuel canister in the back and binocular case. There's a binocular case. Right there. I have to do some research. I'm not sure what kind of case that is. Got his helmet on the side. There's a helmet there on his head, of course. Map case inside there. Maybe a mermite where they would have hot food. That's that thing. Tent maybe, or yeah. You got your haversack, canteen, and gas mask carrier. Those guys, that would be like maybe for the driver. He just hung it on the side there. Rope, tow rope. Yeah, This thing's got some really good details. Okay. It also comes with, okay, don't worry about that, that axe is in the wrong spot, but let's get that axe out of the way. Okay, so it comes with a windshield and a shovel that goes on the side of the vehicle. Yeah, that axe actually goes on this terrain piece. It's supposed to be like stuck in this stump. I don't know if I'm going to do that. All right, let's take a gander. The details on this. Look at the chopped wood, the unchopped wood. Right? Then you got the chopping block, wood fragments that have broken off, and the barrel. That's cover. That's where you put a guy down inside that donut. Okay. Okay, this looks like just a hasty defensive position. Somebody just threw some logs up next to a tree. Got a couple of pegs right here for a firing position. So he's got some all-around cover. It's really cool. All right, so now let's just take a look at these giant. I'm holding off onto these right there for a second, but we're gonna look at these two. Let's look at this. This is more of a natural thing. Okay, so you got a couple of pegs there where they're holding the bottom logs for rolling, and then a couple more logs thrown on top. There's like a branch, that you would see. Stripped, maybe some bark got stripped off over here. You can see how it was cut and then fell, broke. That's attention to detail right there. Some more branches. And with these stacked up, you can use this as a giant linear obstacle. That's awesome. That's super awesome. Okay. And then this guy right here, you got the stacked smaller logs for like making firewood and stuff. With a tarp to keep like the snow off of it, or just rain, or just the weather in general, just to keep it off of there. Trying to get it focused so you can see. All right. Yeah, look at the grain on the wood. But look at the tarp, how it's got that material look to it. I really like that. I was noticing on the paint job, it looked like fabric. Look at the fabric. It looks like canvas and stitches. Wow. I'm totally digging that. Yeah. Okay, a little bubbling on this bottom piece right there. I can scrape a lot of that off with my X-Acto or whatever tool I'm using. Come on, get some focus back on there. Focus. Maybe I'm too close. See the air bubbles right there? Whoa, okay, let's go back just a little bit. There we go. Air bubbles, all that's got to get scraped. But then again, it could have just been, I could paint it up like it was moldy or something, like it had mold on it. Okay, so that one's really good. All right, now these three, the reason why I wanted to hold off on showing you these three, these are all man-made trench-like terrain pieces. So they make a variety of different ones. They make some just straight 6-inch ones or 8-inch ones, I can't remember, and some with curves, some straight, some reversed, so that you could make like an extended trench area if you wanted. You know, donuts not so much because the round kind of interferes with connecting them like that. But you know, if you just wanted to have like a extended trench line, defensive position kind of thing, you could do that. Okay, let's take a look at these. Because these donuts, basically you have one guy and he stands right inside there. Where on the linear ones, you could put a couple of guys behind him. Okay. Let's kind of take a look at the inside if we can. Yeah, that looks good. A little bit of dirt right there. That's good. Got dirt piled up on the side. On the outside. Might have to make some of that snow. I don't know. Because it's supposed to be in the Ardennes. But I want to use it universally. Like if we ever do get to other like Market Garden or any other campaign areas, I don't want to be restricted. If I use grass, it should be okay. If I use dirt, it'll be perfect for everywhere. Yeah. Oh, let's look at the other donut. All right, let's see what we got. Got a little crisscross action going on inside there. Couple of vertical to hold it in place. Yep, and then you got the inside of the L-shaped wall there. And then you got the outside with the dirt piled up on it. And it's like super smooth on the bottom. Okay. And that's where, you know, a guy would stand. All right, so let's take a look at this L shape. It's a very small L shape right there. It's a little boop. Okay. But they make bigger ones and things. Okay, let's take a look here. Some dirt on the inside. Of course, you would have dirt everywhere. There's a little something piled up right there. Little knots for little other branches that might have popped out. A lot of dirt piled up in different areas. This is like a thick wall, it looks like. Two walls with dirt inside. I like this like coming over the wall there. I thought that was pretty cool. Yeah, that's super cool. Generic terrain. All right. Now, I ordered a bunch more terrain, and that should be coming in on my second order. Okay, so we'll take a look at that. Okay, before I start doing any assembly on these guys, I'm going to take these, and there's no like preparation needed to be done on these. They feel like they could be primed directly. They don't have any mold release powder on them or anything. So I'm going to venture to say that a good primer that I'm using, Krylon Flat Black Paint and Primer, I'm going to be using that on these guys. And I'm going to hold off on these guys, this one, because I'm probably going to prime this with a mustard and then paint it. But these guys, these like terrain pieces, I'm going to go ahead and prime black. Doesn't look like there's any work that needs to be done on any of these. They're all good. Except for one of them I said was kind of Yeah, I don't think there's any work that needs to be done on these. So let's go ahead and prime these, and then I'll be back in just a moment to start working on those. All right, guys, we're back. We're going to start doing some work on these guys right here. Yeah, let's just go ahead and start on them now. I'm taking them out of the plastic. Now, the first thing I'm going to test for is to see if there's mold release that needs to be washed. Nope. No mold release needs to be washed. Okay, there is a little bit of flash on like the base. Yeah, you can see this little piece of flash right there, and there's also a little piece of flash on the end of the shovel. I'm sorry, the entrenching tool handle came right off, no problem. That piece came off, no problem. Now I'm just taking a look to see this slaughter base. And it's D&G 2011. Okay, what's D&G? Okay, so that guy's going to go in the slaughter base, and all I need to do is pop that shovel off. So how am I going to do that? I'm going to use my needle nose and gently rock it back and forth until, you know what, I'm going to zoom in the camera. That way you can see better what I'm trying to do here. I'm not squeezing so tight as to put like needle nose marks on the shovel, and I'm going to basically just using the needle nose as a lever. There. That came right off, no problem at all. And it looks like there's a spot on his belt where that shovel belongs. It looks like it's trying to get a good focus right there. See it right there, that piece right there? Okay. Now I'm using DAP Rapid Fuse, and I'm also going to scratch, just put a couple of lines in there. Apply some pressure, give it about a 15 count, and it'll be dry. So I'll set that one right there while we go to work on the next guy. These bases don't look like they need any work done to them. They look like they're ready to go. Okay, and this guy has the flash as well. And luckily that flash pops right off. Flash off the shovel handle or entrenching tool. Oh, wait, he's got a little bit of flash on his rifle. It's gone already. There's a mold line down his leg. So what I do is I just do a little bit of scraping on that mold line to get it to disappear. The sleeve has a mold line. And that's that. The shovel down, apply a little pressure, and also let that sit for about a minute. Now Mike was telling me that a figure that he got, the head was a separate piece and that he had to glue it down inside the collar area, but I'm not seeing that on these guys. That must have been one of those additional figures that I ordered in my second packet. I guess we'll see when that comes in. Now this e-tool is done in a better way. The handle is attached and not the shovel itself. Let's make sure that this base would fit. It does. Let's look for any flash on the M1 Grand on his legs, because it looks like it would go down the length of his body there. Whoops, okay. I see some mold lines, some flash on the inside hole right here. Okay, that's cleaned up, no issue at all. It came right apart real quick. Yeah, and this guy's got a musette bag on his back, and he's got the netted helmet. All right. Yeah. So far, all three of these guys, the only thing you had to assemble was the entrenching tool. Now this guy is different. This is Killer Kelly. John Kelly. See, his rifle and everything is a little bit different. So let's go ahead and clean his sprue up a little bit. Rifle's attached to the sprue and his arm. Okay, it's a carbine. Little extra metal pieces hanging off of it. Gotta cut those off. Straightening the barrel out and everything. Okay. Now this base is way too, or this bottom flash piece is way too big for that. So it looks like I'm going to have to figure out a way. Luckily it's pretty soft. I'm just visualizing like where it would, or where it needs to be cut. Okay. Okay, well that went all the way through. That's good. Yep, just a little bit too long. I was afraid of that. That's why you try it, you test it. All right, there it goes. He goes inside. All right, so now he's got a spot for his entrenching tool. Oh, and he's got a knife on his, he's got a little boot knife, bayonet knife right there. That's pretty awesome. Okay, before I start gluing his rifle on, clear some sprue lines. All right. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to trim a little bit off of this tab here. His wrist. So that it would fit into that hole a little bit better. All right. Barrel down, stock up. Kind of like that. Punching tool back. Now because there's something on the back and the front, I'm just going to set him down inside the base. We're not gluing him on the bases just yet, just so he doesn't fall over. Alright, so now we're going to take my first guy, we're going to put a little bit of glue along the inside and out of the tab. So that when I put him in, the glue will kind of rub against the slot and it will just hold it in place. Okay. Now whenever I use slotted bases, if they're not centered, which these are not, you have a smaller section over here and you have a larger section over there, I always put the large portion on the front of the model. Whenever, like Warhammer 40K, Fantasy Battle, D&D, any Reaper miniatures, basically anybody that's got a slotted base that's not centered, I put the front is the bigger portion of the base. Mainly because that's where his arms are holding whatever weapon it is. Sword, shield, axe, mace, rifle, machine gun, whatever. So it needs a little extra space. didn't glue this guy in. We just sat him in there. Okay, that might be a little bit too much. Now I'm going to move these over to my wax paper just in case. Some of the glue might drip down. All right, now that I got the Americans glued together and put on their bases, I'm going to go check on my black primered terrain pieces, and then I'll be right back. All right, so we got them. They're primered black. They're still drying. You can see that some of these are shiny still. That just means it's not fully dry because this is a flat black. So once it's fully dry, everything will be black. I can still smell the paint drying. I can still smell a little bit of it right now. So we're going to let that finish, and I probably won't touch these until the next video, okay guys, where we'll be doing a lot of woodwork on these guys because it's almost all wood. And then we'll also probably be priming the Kugelwagen, and we'll be putting the Germans together on the next video. All right, guys. Well, thanks for coming out and checking out this project update on my 148, and I'll see you in the next video.